we're going to go ahead and start adding in the values. So values would be how light or dark your shade is. You're going to want your white color pencil and your value scale that I gave you the other day in class. You want to make sure that your pencil's really sharp so you can use your pencil on its edge to shade. So what I'm going to do first is just grab my value scale and I'm going to start to look for the mid-tones. So mid-tones would be anything that's in this 4, 5, and 6 range, okay? So our darkest tones would be our 1, 2s, and 3s. Mid-tones 4, 5, and 6. And then our highlights would be 7, 8, and 9. So I'm just going to come up to my reference photo and start to look for anything that looks like it could be a 4, 5, or 6. So really, like the body of this mason jar, a lot of it would be a mid-tone. This would be a dark tone. This is a mid-tone, and then you see the highlight. So once you're able to start recognizing that, it gets a lot easier when you're trying to shade. But in the meantime, we're just gonna have our value scale right next to us while we're drawing. And I'm gonna start to shade in the mid-tones. Okay, so I've been working on my drawing for probably about 20 minutes to get all my mid-tones built up. I'm still not finished, but I have the majority of the space covered. So I didn't leave anything really pitch black. I used my reference photo to help me find the mid-tones, and I used my value scale to make sure that they're the correct value. Because sometimes you may accidentally be going too light or too dark. Now, a couple other things before you guys start to shade your mid-tones in, you always want to make sure when you're shading mid-tones or any kind of shade really, you want to be holding your pencil almost at the end with your fingers, and when you're shading, you kind of want to go in a light circular motion. So I'm never pressing so hard that you can see all my directional marks. So we don't want to make it look really scribbly. I'm trying to just get a nice smooth coverage. And every so often, I'm going to look at my reference photo and see if there's anywhere that the glass might look a little bit different. So what I mean by that is right here, you can see this glass almost has like a swishing effect. So that means when I'm shading that area in, I need to try to replicate that texture on the glass. So your whole project will not be shaded just like a flat gray. You want to make sure that you're looking at your photo and you're trying to copy the textures that you see on your glass. So like down here in this jar, my shading will start to follow the bottom of the jar. If I just shade it all one flat and shade it all in the same direction, it's gonna make my project look really flat. So one more really important thing before you guys start adding all these mid-tones in is that you need to be mindful of the edges of the glass. So what I mean by that, sometimes I see students make all of their edges just a really bright white outline like this. Now, why we don't want to do this is because it makes the object look really flat, almost like a little kid did it, right? So I want you guys to actually draw softly at first. And then depending on the lighting in the photo, maybe there's a shadow down here, so I can press a little harder. And then maybe up here, there was a light hitting it, so it's not going to be as dark. So these would be hard versus soft edges. So you do not want to outline your entire project like this. It's just going to make it look really flat and one-dimensional. What you want to do is start really light with your pencil, and then in some areas you may end up going a little darker, but other areas you may have a really light and faint outline. Okay, so that's called soft edges, and then these would be your hard edges.